Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in on today's episode. So, let me wrap up this part, hoping that the intro music didn't bring tears to your eyes. Well, let me put it in this way. I select music that resonates with the aircraft's history and legacy, and the other side of the fact because this aircraft play a significant role and suffered heavy losses in Vietnam conflict, so hoping that the intro music to align with the aircraft historical context. And I've noticed that I haven't addressed this particular point in any of my previous videos. Patriotic music is one of my favorite genres, and that being said, hence the name of the channel, which is The Patriot. I am a very patriotic person, and my patriotism is what drives me to serve my country, and I have a deep love for our nation and a desire to contribute to its well-being. And I'm proud to be an American, to serve and contribute to the defense of our homeland. And I put those uniforms to serve, not to get rich, and because I believe in that freedom. So, for those of you who have served their country, I would like to take a moment of gratitude here, and I want to personally thank you for for your service and sacrifice. Those folks are true heroes. I mean, people always talk about heroes. So heroes to me in life, they're not the people on the television, on the magazines. It's not a movie star. It's not a rock star. That's entertaining, right? True heroes that people, when they do things to help the others and sacrifice, those are true heroes. So as an American here, America, they try to do the right thing throughout the major war, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Whether in the name of liberation or other political issues, if we look at the past events, the United States has been involved in any many wars and major conflicts since its birth. But the 12 major wars, including the American Revolution, the War of 1812, the Indian Wars, the Mexican American Wars, the Civil War, the Spanish American War, the World War I, the World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Persian Gulf. That being said, this nation has a quite history of war, but we've learned a lot of lessons. Set aside the political thing and other aspects. I want you to know that the war is horrible. It's wasteful, and this is something I've learned to hate since when I was a little kid. As an American veteran, true, we defend the nation, but if someone out there tells you, whether he's the Marine rifleman or Army infantryman or Navy SEAL or Air Force aviator, tells you that we enjoy the war, probably he's not telling you the truth. But nonetheless, the job had to be done. But nobody enjoys the war. So before we go any further, let's focus on the main topic. So in today's video, we'll be discussing the Republic F-105D Thunderchief, or better known the THUD, this particular aircraft in a single seat. And this particular F-105 in the colors of 355 Tactical Fighter Wing slash 357th Tactical Fighter Squadron, or better known the Memphis Belle 2, assigned to Royal Thai Air Base in Takli, Thailand from 1966 to, I believe, 1970. This particular F-105 had a pretty interesting story behind it. So to give you some background on it, the THUD with the serial number 06 504 had been given the name Memphis Belle II uh, to honor the World War II B-17. The F-105 pilot was Major Buddy Johns, who is scored with the two MiG-17 victories. If you guys go back on the intro montage, you can see there is a two red stars, basically represents the two MiG-17 kills, and also a couple of campaign ribbons. So why don't we refer this aircraft, with better names such as the Vietnam Warrior, right? Since this aircraft played a significant role in the Vietnam War. Here's why the terms of Vietnam Warrior is fitting for the F-105. Um, and to me, this aircraft definitely deserves this distinct name. Well, particularly during the Rolling Thunder campaign, where it was a heavily used for conventional bombing missions. As we all know, while this aircraft was initially designed for a nuclear strikes, and the Thud became primary conventional strike aircraft flying over some of the heavily defended targets over Vietnam, and the F-105 was extensively used in the Rolling Thunder air campaign, where it flew a high percentage of bombing sorties against North Vietnam. Um, Also, the F-105 crews flew dangerous Wild Weasel missions, which involved locating and destroying enemy anti-aircraft missions. So, folks, the other thing is also I would like to highlight here that I've been meaning to do this review for a while and procrastinating about it. Now, probably, some of you wondering why. Well, because I approach this aircraft review with a degree of caution. Giving the aircraft's extensive history, and I wanted to be a particularly thoughtful about this review, giving the aircraft's age, and I don't want to create any content that lacks of specificity. After doing a lot of reading, source material, and compare print sources, and that being said, I must confess that I do enjoy reading, but sometimes too much of a reading can become a mental drain. And alongside my workload is really piling up, set aside the family and being a father of four kids. So here we are, juggling a lot at the same time. And consequently, that makes me a little fussy, and sometimes it's difficult to stick to uh, consistent content creation routine. So now we've touched on that. So let's get started before we get bored. And let's move on to the main discussion of the F-105D Thunderchief. Initially, I'll offer a brief overview of the historical background, and after that, we'll discuss the model subject. So, in 1951, a design team under Alexander Carvelli at Republic Aircraft began work as a company venture on a new high-performance single-seat, low-level nuclear strike aircraft. The new aircraft, which was giving the company designation of Advanced Project 63 or the AP-63 for for if you want to use that phrase. Was to replace the Air Force Republic F-84 F Thunderstreak. Many different designs concepts were considered, gradually evolving towards something along the lines of the stretched F-84F with a bomb bay for a nuclear weapon. The aircraft was to be powered by an Allison J-71 turbojet. Uh, as it turned out, that this power plant would not have enough thrust for the aircraft. That basically that finally flew and was never actually used. The AP-63 would also be able to carry air-to-air and air-surface missiles under the pylons, was basically have a top speed of Mach 1.5 or 1.7. Please, folks, correct me if I botched on something. But anyways, and would be capable of defending itself against enemy fighters. The aircraft would have um, supposedly a sophisticated combat avionics and mid-air refueling capabilities. Initial contracts were awarded to Republic in 1952 and 1953 for what at the first was a total of 19, I believe was 199 or 200 aircraft, with initial delivery scheduled for 1955. But in reality, U.S. Air Force requirements were shifting at the time, even to the point of shutting down the project for a short time at the end of the 1953. And the company did not receive a solid contract until February 1955 for 15 aircrafts. These 15 aircrafts were finally completed as two YF-105A Evolution aircraft, three RF-105Bs, reconnaissance aircraft, and 10 initial production F-105Bs. The initial flight of the first YF-105 was on October 22nd, 1955. Pardon me, folks. I had to take a little swig here. Anyways, so with Republic test pilot Rusty Roth, the second prototype followed on uh, January 28, 1956. The YF-105A was a sleek, big aircraft with a mid-mounted wing, swept-back, basically 45 degrees, similar swept-back tail surfaces with a all-moving tailplane, engines, intakes, and the wings, rods, a ventral fins for a yaw stability at a high speeds, and tall, stalky tricycle landing gear with a single wheels, the main gear hinged and the wings uh, retracting towards the fuselage, and the nose gear retracted towards the wings, were relatively small for the aircraft size to give it a high wing loading uh, that ensured a smoother ride at a low level at the expense of agility. And with the price of long takeoff, run flight controls were hydraulically boosted. The pilot sat in the cockpit with the clamshell canopy on a Republic designed rocket boosted ejection seat, although the plan was fit production aircraft with the Pratt Whitney PW J75 turbojet. Since the J75 was not available at the outset, the two YF F-105As were powered by Pratt Whitney J57's P25 turbojet, with basically produces about I believe 15,000 foot-pound thrust after burning despite the fact that the J-57 was substantially less powerful than the J-75. The YF-105A was still capable of Mach 1.2 or 1.3. Both YF F-105s A were forced to make wheels-up landings in March 1956, with both breaking their backs, but the pilots walking away. The two machines were written off. Fortunately, the first F-105B was delivered in the mid-May, and basically performs its initial flight on May 22nd, 1956, fitted with a Pratt Whitney J75 P3 engine with basically produces about 16,000 foot-pound of thrust. Uh, Basically, uh, the the reverse swept intakes helped to reduce the likelihood of the engine stall from a high-speed shock waves propagating down the engine inlets. There was a movable plug in each inlet that could be shifted forward and back to improve a high-speed airflow. As we all know, the auxiliary ducts that opened when the aircraft's landing gear were extended area rolling was an innovation of the 1950s, in which changes in aircraft cross-section were made as gradual as possible to improve the transonic handling by smoothing the transitions in the airflow, resulting in the WASP wasted fuselage configuration, which I will give you guys some background on it later. Um, the initial F-105B suffered damage during its first flight when its landing gear failed to extent due to circumstances resulting in a suction effect that kept the gear doors closed. The pilot had to belly in, which he did with considerable skill. When he walked away from the plane, the gear doors popped open. The machine was back in the air in just 6 weeks. In addition to the accidents, the development effort was also complicated by the fact that the U.S. Air Force requirements were continuing to shift, but these changes requirements also led the U.S. Air Force to become more enthusiastic about the F-105 Thunderchief, um, as it was formally named in June 1956. In March 1956, the service had ordered 65 more F-105Bs and 17 RF-105Bs, followed by order for 5 two-seat F-105Cs trainers to provide instructions in the Thunderchief's advanced avionics systems. The RF-105B was canceled in July 1956, though, as mentioned, 3 prototypes lacking armament and photographic gear were, completed. They were used in a special trails under the designation of the JFF-105B. The F-105Cs were axed in 1957, but the F-105B production went ahead. The other 9 F-105B's initial production machines were completed, with the first 5 being, Block 1 or F-105B1 aircraft, and the rest of being F-105B aircraft. First flight of the production aircraft in F-105B was basically on May 14th, 1958. And so the U.S. Air Force Tactical Air Command had a full squadron of Thunderchiefs in service by mid 1959. On uh, December 11, 1959, Brigadier General Joseph Moore, commander of the 4th Tactical Fighter Wing, set a world speed record of 1,216 miles per hour uh, over a 80 miles closed course in the F-105B. While the Republic was getting the F-105 into the air, the company was also considering designs for a high-speed, long-range interceptor for a 1954 U.S. Air Force requirements, the Republic submission to the Air Force. The AP-75 was clearly similar to the F-105, but featured twin side-by-side engines and swept uh, triangular flight surface. It was to be armed with the air-to-air carried an internal weapon base. The U.S. Air Force basically selected the North American F-108 Rapier for the competition. Um, it basically went nowhere, but that is another story. The Thunderchief was a considerably a complicated aircraft, leading to a high maintenance hours. The electronic systems were particularly unreliable. The hydraulic systems badly needed redundancy, and the airframe needed reinforced. And initially, the aircraft required according to the research, 150 maintenance hours per a flight hour to keep it in the air. And so the aircraft availability rates were poor. However, efforts to work out the bugs continued, and the Time Republic and the Air Force began to get ahead on the survivability curve with the F-105Bs. Brought up to snuff through a program designated Project Optimize when the Thunderchief was in a flying condition. It was an impressive aircraft at the time, like its Republic ancestors, big, rugged, and powerful. Yes, it was a rugged and powerful, but unlike them, sleek and photogenic. The swept-back wings featured low-speed ailerons at a high speed, spoilers to improve handling, as well as full-span leading edge flaps to improve takeoff and landing characteristics. The Thunderchief also featured an interesting air braking system consisting of four clove clover leaf segments around the jet exhaust that open like a flower petals. The clover leaf air brake also served as a variable engine exhaust, opening 9 degrees automatically when the afterburner was engaged. Only the horizontal pedals could be extended when the aircraft's landing gear was down to keep the bottom pedal from striking the runway, basically preventing it from getting damaged. So, with all that being said, the F 105 mission was basically designed to fly at a high speed, low altitude nuclear tactical bombs delivery, as well as the conventional bombs, and jinked away. That was basically the mission of the F 105. Back then, there was an old axiom in the fighter pilot business called the speed is life. So the faster you go, there is a very low possibility that something can keep up with that. So it is a very fast platform. This thing just loved to go fast. This aircraft was a game changer back then, especially during its early stages, but not in the sense of revolutionary, I would say. It was one of the primary attack aircraft of the Vietnam War, particularly during the Operation Rolling Thunder. However, the loss rate was pretty high, with over 20,000 Thunderchief sorties flowing out of the 833 produced. 380 something aircraft were lost, including 63 or 62, excuse me, operational, which is insane, right? If we compare those figures to the modern days, which I found a couple of possible theories. During the World War II and the Cold War, major industrial nations were largely focused on the wartime production, leading to a mass production of the fighter planes and other weaponry. The sheer number of the aircraft produced and the frequency of the aerial combat resulted in the higher attrition rates. Whereas in a modern warfare, while still potentially involving significant aerial combat, is generally less focused on the such a large scale engagements, and the cost and complexity of the modern fighter jets mean they are less likely to be produced and developed in such a numbers. Modern fighter jets are incredibly expensive and the maintenance intensive. This makes them a less likely to be produced in a large quantities, even in the times of the conflicts. So let me give you guys uh, some perspective about the F-105 Thunderchief, some of its characteristics, design. Now, why the F-105 Thunderchief has a squeezed fuselage design in the middle, which I call the wasp waist. So, to give you a little perspective on that, since I have degree in aeronautics. Well, I'm not an aeronautical engineer, but I took a significant courses of the aeronautics. But anyway, so that odd shape, it wasn't just for looks. Basically, it's solving a real aerodynamics problem. This thing is due to something called a transonic area rule. It's a simple term to reduce the drag from the shock waves nearest the speed of sound, right around 0.8 or 1.2 Mach. So an aircraft total cross-sectional area should change as smoothly as possibly from nose to tail. As a jet accelerates through the range, abrupt changes where the wings attached can intensifies shock waves and drag, not only on the F-105 but also on the F-102 Delta Dagger. Have that unique design because the Delta Dagger couldn't break the Mach 1 basically until the engineers they reshaped the fuselage to follow the area rule, and the results were finally the Delta Dagger was able to piercing the sound barrier. So now you guys know that looks is not just for design, it's physics driven upgrades designed to smooth the ride through the transonic zone. Now, since we've covered that, perhaps, we could discuss something else. So let's dive into the details of the model. Firstly, this model was produced by Hobbymaster in 1/72nd scale under model number HA2503. I will say that this model has been discontinued, and they're hideously high when it comes to the pricing. One of the reasons Hobbymaster hasn't been releasing many new releases lately of F-105, and I think this is why the value is increasing. Uh, this is the first F-105 I've owned, and based on my understanding, this was the first edition from Hobbymaster. Prior review, I hopped on eBay just to do some research and just to do some research, checking on this model availability, and I encountered a seller offering this particular model, but the price was excessively ridiculous. The price was, I mean, we're talking like $450 plus shipping. Yeah. I mean, it's a cool model. It's got a Memphis Belle markings, which makes it very sought after and very hard to come by. But I don't think that this model worth that price. So $450, yeah, right. I think that leave bad taste in your mouth, right? Um, I think it's above its value. I mean, I would say $250. That's I would I would pay $250 for this model if I can find this model on the secondary market. But more than that, that's that's pushing. I've had this model for many, many years. I feel fortunate to have this model in my collection. So let's start with the paint scheme. I think the paint job on this model is really well done, perfectly executed. It really captures the F-105 as an aviation geek right here. I love this jungle camo, and the proportions of this model is perfectly calibrated. The landing gear on this model is flawless. I mean, this model has many fine features, including uh, an accurately rendered wasp waist, as I've talked about it earlier. The wasp waist fuselage, excuse me, a hinged canopy, uh, that looks securely in the place, leaving almost no visible gaps, and the cockpit details that included pad printed screens and dial instrument panels um, are all dialed in. In terms of accessories, it comes with a generic Hobbymaster pilot figure, obviously pilot in, pilot out, as well as three sets of fuel tanks, two under each pylon under the wing, as well as one goes on the center belly, which incidentally you can display this model uh, in the flight configurations with the centerline fuel tank attached. There is like a slot that you can shove the stand, so clearly the fuel tank would be visible in the flight configurations, which I think it's a desirable feature for some of you out there. Unfortunately, it's not. You know, this is this is something not what I prefer. Displaying these models in the flight configuration, because as we all know, none of these models are cheap. Each model runs $150 a pop, so they're not cheap by any stretch of imaginations. So, anyways, speaking about the armament, it comes with the two AGM-12 air-to-air alongside six conventional free-fall bombs, which I believe it's called the Mark 80. Basically, they're general-purpose bombs. As you guys see here in the shot, as I'm displaying, which I'm glad that Hobbymaster incorporates that. Basically, historically reflects the accuracy of the aircraft. Also, the cannon slot rendered very well, and the markings insignia are captured really well, very crispy and clear. Uh, the rear stabilators are movable, which is this is something I prefer on every model. That's just me here. And this model incorporates a speed brake. Do note the speed brake and the engine nozzle functioning as a single integrated unit, basically two separate pieces. So you can display the engine nozzles in the open position or closed, position. As you guys can see here in this shot right here, uh, I have basically I have the open position, which opens like a flower. Because the F-105 used a 4-flower pedal speed brakes, which were actually part of the engine nozzle design. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, the other thing is, folks, incidentally, this model does not include a crew ladder, as you guys see here in this shot, and it's not part of the standard package. However, it's an optional cool accessory for separate purchase. Um, on this awesome model, I think this model is more than just a product. It is a historic achievement, and this model is must have, and it's a piece of history. And I think no aviation enthusiast collection is complete without this model. And that captures the essence of of my reviews of F-105D Thunderchief. Next up, we're diving into aircraft. I'm well aware uh, this is a topic many of you are excited about, which is about the F-35 Bravo. Um, I modified the engine nozzles by replacing the nozzle, the whole nozzle, by completely removing the factory one and replacing them with something better, which I landed in some successful outcomes. I don't want to spoil everything in this video, guys, but we'll be getting into that in the next review. I did posted a picture of the results on the YouTube a couple of weeks ago. Um, some of you have been commenting about it. There were excitement of feedback, and I'm glad to see. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this episode. Thanks for watching. If you like, you know, this video, please give it thumbs up, and don't forget to, please subscribe to my channel. Once you do that, I think this is a simple way to convey your positive feedback for the content you've watched. And you don't miss any updates. You'll be the first viewer once I upload the next video. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.